We've got lifelong, skilled, experienced aircraft maintenance people and design people working on it, and we've got people with virtually no professional skills. But there are so many jobs to do on this airplane. All it takes is the intention to contribute. We ended up creating the Calgary Mosquito Aircraft Society, and we got very clear about what our goals were. And they were simply retain the airplane in Calgary, restore it, finally, after the 50 years it had been in storage, to honor those who had designed, constructed, flew, maintained the airplane, both in wartime and in peacetime, and to educate people about the very significant role that this aircraft type, and this one in particular, had played in the Calgary area, in Alberta, and in fact all across Canada. The Mosquito had a phenomenal record and history. It was the fastest airplane in the world. It had the lowest loss rate of any Allied bomber during World War II because of its speed, because of its ruggedness. Despite the fact that it was made out of wood, it was easy to repair. There were lots of people who weren't engaged in building military materials who could contribute to the construction and repair of the Mosquito. So it had a tremendous record.
This is essentially the first composite aircraft. When you look at something like the 787 Dreamliner now, which uses carbon fiber and Kevlars, they're essentially made the same way in the clocking of the materials versus the clocking of the plywoods.
Our particular airplane wasn't built until the war was ended. The Royal Air Force said, what we need is a good high-altitude photo reconnaissance airplane. And it operated with the Royal Air Force for 2 or 3 years. It went back into storage. And at the same time that that was going on, there was a very enterprising company in Canada called Spartan Air Services. Spartan Air Services was the world's leading authority in how to do high-altitude photo mapping. This is a Canadian company doing groundbreaking work. And off this airplane went with the other Spartan Mosquitoes to do the first mapping of all of Canada. That information is being used even today. The restoration process on this airplane is going to take quite a while. You've got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of parts. So identifying what they are, where they go, how they go back together, those are some of the significant challenges.
Perfect. The canopy of the Mosquito requires a whole set of screws to hold the perspex onto the frame. Since the frame is of various thicknesses, the screws are of different lengths, and so it's essential that in the reinstallation that is to come, we have the right screw lengths and the right screws for the cockpit. Now, in this board, several screws are of totally different lengths, but also of different thicknesses. So it is therefore very important that we keep track of it. Each line on this board shows a line of the canopy, and they match the lines that I've drawn on the documentation drawing.
What we're focusing on at this point is the fuselage itself, which is behind me here. This particular airframe has a tremendous history in Canada. We are restoring this airplane as it served and worked in this country. Whether it's financial, or whether it's a paint scraper, or a high level of skill in the woodwork, or the instruments, or the avionics on this airplane, the opportunity to say, I had a hand in doing this. It's a rare opportunity that creates a lot of value for people.